Hi, I am Gyöngyi Kökönyei. My talk will be about rumination, an everyday process we all do, but it could become a problem. Our research is focused on emotion regulation in relation to physical and mental health. In emotion regulation research, there has been a particular interest in rumination since it's strongly related to overall psychopathology. So, what is rumination? What happens if we are ruminating? When we are ruminating, we are dwelling on our problems, our emotions, on negative events, such as rejections, negative feedbacks from peers, failures or our losses, and the possible causes and consequences of these events and problems. But at first sight, it seems to be a very common and normal process. So we all do this to some extent. It helps us understand events and emotions. It also facilitates self-regulation. But in some people, rumination becomes maladaptive and creates a risk for the development of psychopathology. Therefore, the key question is when, why, and for whom it becomes a maladaptive process. Rumination becomes maladaptive if it's used excessively to deal with emotions and problems, if it doesn't contribute to problem solving. Instead, it remains a passive dwelling on what happened and why it happened, with thoughts like, what am I doing to deserve this? In some cases, or in many cases, rumination contains negative self-related and overgeneralized thoughts. For instance, how can I be so miserable? Or why does nobody love me? Or what if, or if only thoughts, so how the present or past could be different. We know that women tend to ruminate more than men, and gender differences in depression, for instance, are partially attributed to increased rumination among girls and women. In addition, based on some results, the relationship between rumination and depressive symptoms is stronger among women and girls compared to men and boys. But are there any disorders in which rumination is a higher risk for boys or men? Ruminative thoughts are usually distressing and difficult to control. Therefore, it has been proposed that rumination can induce any maladaptive behaviors, for instance, substance use or emotional eating, that can provide disengagement or escape from these thoughts. And if, as a consequence, the maladaptive behavior provides relief from emotions and problems or thoughts, that it can reinforce the behavior itself. So, based on this, we assumed that rumination could be a risk factor for any pathological behaviors that could provide disengagement from these thoughts. So, in a recent study already published, we tested the association between rumination and problematic online gaming. And we expected that the association between rumination and problematic online gaming would be stronger for boys who are more at risk of this behavior. Since online gaming is a popular leisure activity among teenagers, we had a representative sample on adolescents attending 7th grade or above and analyzed the data of those who reported online gaming in the past 12 months. Our results showed that as rumination score increased, the problematic online score also increased, but primarily among males. In an ongoing longitudinal study called the Budapest longitudinal study, we want to see whether our results are replicable, and our preliminary analysis support that the association between rumination and problematic online gaming in 5th grade children is more pronounced among boys. Of course, we will test the prospective association between rumination and problematic online gaming using these data as well. We also aim to understand the mechanisms underlying the adverse effects of rumination on health. And for instance, we investigated the anticipation and perception of aversive and rewarding stimuli in relation to rumination with neuroimaging, or more precisely with functional magnetic resonance imaging. And recently we are interested to test how results obtained in the laboratory, for example, fMRI results, reaction time results, or parasympathetic activation during rest, could predict everyday functioning, for example, daily rumination or momentary rumination or emotional functioning in everyday world.